Well, hello, friend, and welcome to another episode of Van Life Living in the Ark. Which, of course, I'm still not in my ark at the moment. But understand that the ark that I really need isn't there. It's right here. The ark is in my heart. That's where we were to build it, right? That's what Jesus taught us, was how to build an ark. So that's what I'm always on here talking about, is Jesus. Not about the cannon, because the cannons are meant to blow things up. Jesus was the new wine, so all you need is the new wine. You need to ask the questions that no one else wants to ask, the same ones that put me out of church, friend. Because I'll tell you, people don't like you asking questions when they don't have the answers. They would just say that you have to believe. Friend, if you want to just have to believe and not actually understand God, then you don't want to listen to me, because I'm only here to talk to people that want to think about what it is they're thinking about and want to come to understand my Father by getting to know the firstborn Son. So understand that Jesus came and gave you a message, but He told you something. He said, I'm going to speak in parables so they don't understand, lest they turn and be forgiven. Friend, I don't ever hear them talking about that in church. Why didn't God want you forgiven? Why did He keep what He was telling you a secret for only those that wanted to seek it and find it? And if He gave a secret message, did you find it? Did you even look? Friend, I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm here to only talk to the people that want to understand God. And I'm not going to be able to give you my treasure that I have in the field, because, well, it's my treasure. It's just like Jesus said, the kingdom is like, the kingdom is like, the kingdom is like. And I'm not here to be glorified, friend. Jesus came for that. He came to be glorified so that you could, by getting to know Him, you get to know the Father. So you don't need another messenger to tell you they're the light in the way, because He was the light in the way. And anyone who gets received by Him can then be received by my Father. But understand that my Father won't receive you unless it's your choice. Believing in Jesus got you partway there, friend. The church did a half a tongue wiggle. Okay, understand that in the garden, the serpent went up to Adam and Eve and said, a half a tongue wiggle. They said, if you want to know the power of God, then eat the fruit. What he was talking about was the power of love and forgiveness, the power of my Father, the power of the reason He creates everything. However, notice that the serpent in the garden wiggled half a tongue, friend. That's why it's called a serpent. Serpents have split tongues. So understand, it wiggled half a tongue to Adam and Eve. Well, Eve, and then Eve took it to Adam, right? It doesn't matter who ate it. Adam would have ate it if Eve didn't. It's irrelevant. The point is, it wiggled half a tongue, and they didn't think about what it is they were thinking about. Understand that. So, and what the serpent didn't do is, it didn't tell them the truth. And the truth is, the price of knowing love and forgiveness would be to know fear and selfishness. And so therefore, the whole truth is, to know one, you end up knowing the other. That's the fruit that we eat here, friend. It's called selfishness and fear. And we are selfish, and then we let our fear drive our selfishness, and then our selfishness drives us to cause fear. So just understand that that is what the serpent in the garden was about, was that it wiggled half a tongue. It told you half a truth. Well, the church has wiggled once again half a tongue, which gave you half a truth. However, there was a purpose in that, and I can't explain it to you, because you're going to have to go to God for it. Because if I tried to explain it to you, it wouldn't make any sense. Because understand that in the beginning there was only God. Then my Father created Lucifer which you say fell from pride. And because he fell from pride, my Father kicked him out of the kingdom, which he was supposed to be his greatest creation. But you think that you're going to say, I believe in Jesus, remain full of pride, and then enter the kingdom full of pride. Well, friend, how long do you think you're going to last? What are you going to do? You're going to muck up my Father's kingdom just like you did this one. My Father's creating a kingdom in the coming one that he's talking about. So understand that. But Jesus told you all this stuff. I'm telling you things kind of outright, right? But if you go read the messages of Jesus, like when he said, get away from me, Satan, to Peter, he was saying, get away from me, fear, meaning when two or more gather in the name of fear, fear gains strength. When two or more gather in the name of selfishness, selfishness gains strength. When two or more gather in the name of love and forgiveness, hence the love of Christ, then the love of Christ gains strength. And he said, I will be there also, because he is love. He came to represent that of my Father. But understand, this thought of Satan must exist. It isn't my Father, yet it is created by the Father. I can't explain to you what I know, but what I can tell you is that if you will go read Jesus and start defining parables, get upset. Now that you've heard me say that he spoke in parables so you wouldn't understand, stop letting them tell you that you have to believe them. I'm telling you that Jesus was the teacher. Don't go get degrees from men, and don't go listen to men to get degrees from men. I'm telling you to go get a degree from the Holy Spirit through the message of Christ. Because the greater you get to know Jesus and his parables, and the more you do the things he asked, it will take you to a place called the kingdom. And in the end, you're going to become willing to die in order to live in a way that I can't explain. It doesn't even make sense. But understand that to do this requires dying to selfishness. Selfishness is evil. It is what causes suffering. However, if you're not ready to do this, you can't do it. You've got to learn the experience of love. You've got to understand why Jesus said the things he said. He gave you a whole list of things. Give your gifts in secret, all this, do that, right? And friend, there's people like me that came from the darkness, and I don't want to be glorified, because when you see me, you'll see nothing at all. So understand, I'm here to tell you that if you go read Jesus, if you let go of all the rest of it, Moses didn't save you, Jesus did. Paul didn't save you, Jesus did. I'm telling you, if you want Jesus' kingdom, it's time for you to really get down with this message that Jesus gave about the kingdom. Because there's always a time and a place for everything in God's creation. And this is the time for you to really get to know Jesus if you want to. He told you that at the end of the age things were going to happen, friend. I'm not telling you when it is, because I don't know. All I know is my Father said that I'm going to speak this message, and therefore I speak what it is I know, or what it is he knows for me. I've said it over and over again. Jesus told us to, when we go before the judges, do not think about what it is you're going to say, and he'll give you exactly what to say at that moment. So friend, I've never written down my message. I turn the camera on and start talking. What I do is I get in the spirit before I turn the camera on, so that I'm not reacting from selfishness and fear. Because every now and then I do that. I rush out here, think I'm going to put a video together. No, that doesn't work. I have to come out and get in the spirit, and trust my Father to do what it is that he needs to do. Because what I have isn't for you. What you have is for you. Except for what you have isn't for you, it's for others and for my Father. And if you become willing to give it to them and to him, that which you have will be far greater than you can even imagine. Even though it'll be nothing at all. I don't know how to explain this to you, friend. Jesus had a kingdom, and you can have it too. But you have to do the things he asked. What you do not find in your life, you will not get in your death. Jesus never told you were getting a free trip to the kingdom if you believed he died on the cross for you. Go read what he said. Go buy a red letter edition of the Bible, has everything Jesus said in red, and read it. And while you're reading red, I'm not telling you you have to go into Revelation deeply, friend, because my Father will tell you what you need to do. But go read the letter to the churches. Because if you go read what Jesus said to the churches through John back then, you will know that the church is way off track. I won't have to tell you that the church isn't even on the same page as Christ. You will see it. And if you don't see it, it's because maybe you exist in one of the few churches that still are built on the rock. But friend, everybody wants Jesus to be warm and fuzzy, and Jesus was never about warm and fuzzy. Jesus was about truth. Jesus didn't talk with half a tongue, friend. He talked with the whole tongue, but he put it in parables and riddles. He said things to make you not believe, yet teach you how to believe, all at the same time. He said you could say, "Mountain, move and be cast into the sea," and if you did not doubt, it would be done. Do you believe that? And if you don't, then why do you believe in Jesus? If you believe every word Jesus said is true, why don't you believe that? And if you do believe that, why don't you do it? If you do believe that, why would you do it? See, friend, everything he said was a riddle or a parable. It's all there for a reason. Jesus didn't speak just haphazardly, friend. He opened his mouth and let the Spirit speak through him. My Father wiggled his tongue. Understand this. Those words of Christ are the words of my Father. However, understand there's truths there that are true, but there's other truths that are true which defy the truth that he spoke. So understand there's two truths to be found, and one was to maintain order until the end of the age, and the other one was so that you could rise in the spirit of love and give you what you need to receive the Holy Spirit, which is the bridge to the kingdom. Because without the Holy Spirit, you will not find the truth of my Father. So if you want to know the truth of my Father, you have to receive the Holy Spirit, and you have to become willing to give more and seek less for yourself. Death is selfishness. It means really wanting to understand God. It means you have to go through a process, and I can't tell you how to do it. Only my Father can. The Holy Spirit will lead you down a road. That's what he'll do. But Jesus told you, and he used a parable about your neighbor and a loaf of bread, that if you needed bread from your neighbor and it was late at night, that when you went and knocked on his door, he would yell, "Go away, the hour's late, I'm in bed with my children." And that he wouldn't, and that you'd end up walking away, right? No, he told you if you want the bread, you have to keep knocking until you get it. He said, make him get out of bed for sheer audacity. Understand, he was talking about my Father and the bread of life. My Father will give you the bread of life. But understand, it's not what you thought it was, even though it is. It's a wonderful thing, and I can't explain it to you. Because it's not bread the way you understand bread. Just like when Jesus said, you know, this bread and grape juice, that wasn't what he was talking about, friend. That was what he did in representation to them because they weren't ready to understand the truth yet. But I'm going to lay it out here for you in case you haven't heard it yet, but I've said it 100 times in my previous videos. Jesus said, eat my flesh and drink my blood. He said, if you do not eat my flesh and drink my blood, you will not receive the kingdom. Well, understand what Jesus was saying was, if you do not eat my word and drink my spirit, flesh, word, blood, spirit. If you do not eat his flesh and drink his spirit, you will not receive the kingdom. It is a choice you have to make. It is one you make at the time you want. But there comes a time where you have to start making decisions, and this world has gotten crazy out of whack, and the church is so far off the page, you're not going to find it through them. Jesus wasn't just talking about the Pharisees when he said, if your righteousness does not exceed the righteousness of the Pharisees, you will by no means receive the kingdom. He was talking about your Pharisees just like he was talking about theirs. And if you can't see that now, I can't help you, friend. Because everybody wants to say they have the truth, but when you ask them the hard questions, they've got no answers. So what I'm telling you is, don't come asking me for the answer. Go knock on the door to the kingdom. You get to wanting that bread. You make my Father answer the door out of sheer audacity. Don't tolerate that. Go away, the hour's late, I'm in bed with my children. When he says that, be like, no, Father, answer this door. I'm telling you. But if you want him to get out of bed, see, he's going to make you do a lot of work. This isn't a one-shot deal, friend. The only way to get him to answer that door is to get to know Jesus in a very intense way. He will answer that door and give you bread. But you better be ready to go on a ride, friend. And the ride is called love and forgiveness. Because if you judge, you will be judged. If you do not forgive, you will not be forgiven. Jesus told you that. Jesus even told you that in the Lord's Prayer. When he told you the Lord's Prayer, if you listen to it, it says, forgive us our debts as we forgive those who debt against us. It never said, Jesus never once said that you were just forgiven for believing in him. He said, get baptized in the Spirit, which he used water. The baptizing of water is to wash yourself, right? For people eat, after using the bathroom, they wash their hands, they clean themselves, right? So baptism is to represent cleaning. Water represents the Spirit, and therefore you are being baptized in the Spirit, which means you are letting go of your old life. However, friend, if you're like me, you didn't after you got baptized. Even though you were trying, you didn't because you didn't understand, because the church was saying one thing, Jesus was saying another. Then they talk from Paul in Old Testament. Friend, I'm not here to talk Bible. If you are not ready to talk Jesus and listen to Jesus, then you don't even want to listen to the stuff I talk about, because I'm not here to tell you about Paul. I don't know Paul inside out, upside down, and backwards. But I do know the message of Jesus, and I do know that it brought me the kingdom. And even though it brought me more, I have less for it. How do I say that? And even though I'm less, I'm more, but because I'm more, I'm less. And because both are true, neither are. The things that I have, friend, I can't explain to you because it won't make any sense to you if you're of the world. But understand that if you want to know my Father, if you want to know the love of Christ, if you want to be his child, go get down with that message of Jesus and don't let anybody tell you it's not true. You go straight to the source for the truth. You go get your degree from Jesus and the Holy Spirit. Because he told you, if you know me, when you get to know me, you will know my Father. And he told the disciples that too. They said, Lord, let us see the Father. He said, what do you not understand? If you've seen me, you've seen my Father. And because you've seen my Father, then you will know me. Right? So what he was telling you is his words and his actions were the actions and words of the Father. And so therefore, I don't know why anybody is looking to Moses, Jeremiah, Joshua, any of them. Does the Holy Spirit, he just had me watch Jeremiah last night, right? So am I saying that I don't know other parts of the Bible? I'm telling you I do, and when the Spirit leads me to something, I'll look at it. But it's not what I know, friend, because it has no meaning to me. You will never get me to understand why it is that Joshua killed every man, woman, and baby and child in that city on God's command. Yet even though I don't know why, I do know why, and I can't explain it because it doesn't make any sense. And back when I went to receive this kingdom, I didn't even believe in the Exodus, friend. There was no way I could follow a God of hate and a God of judgment. But until you understand the whole kingdom, you can't get what's going on. I can't tell you a truth about a lie or a lie about a truth. I can't tell you anything because you have to give it from God. God is the only one that you will believe this truth from. But he won't give it to you until you're ready, because if you receive it before you're ready, you'll do the wrong thing with it. Understand that. There's a reason Jesus said it the way he did. So anyway, friend, I'm not going to make this a long one, even though I say that all the time, and I always do. Understand that my Father loves you, and because he loves you, I love you. I don't love you because you've done all the right things in your life any more than my Father. I love you because my Father is in you. There's a spark of my Father in you, even if you don't know it. I'm telling you, the person you are is not the person you are. You can be something different. But if you don't get to know this Jesus, if you don't do the things he asked at the end of the age, you will not be a different person. You will still be the same person that went and got drenched in water. The church doesn't know Jesus except for those that do. Those that do, you will find feeding the hungry, clothing the naked, and visiting people in prison. You will find them giving to others what it is they would seek for themselves. And I'm not talking about those they love, because Jesus told you, loving those that love you is easy. Even the sinners and tax collectors do that. What credit is that to you? So understand, those aren't the people I'm talking about. Those are going to be the prideful people that throw a couple dollars at you. They want glorified for it. Friend, they serve Satan all the way from here to eternity. It doesn't matter to me. I'm not here to talk about that. Jesus told you the truth, and I'm telling you, if you get down with this truth, that the kingdom you're seeking, you will find. But if you're not seeking love and forgiveness, then you're not going to find that kingdom. And because you don't want to find it, you're not going to get it. It's just the way it is. So it's time to make some choices here. But I can tell you this, even though in the beginning it's hard, your thought of Satan's going to be screaming at you saying this and that and trying to, because the more you try to do the right thing, the louder your thought of Satan is going to get. I'm not lying to you. So understand, you're going to have to become faithful to that message of Christ. You're going to have to start doing things. And when you start becoming more conscious, you'll end up in more pain from less selfishness. Because the pain is up here, friend. There's pain in the body, but most people are hurting. People that commit suicide, it's not body pain, it's head pain, friend. Our children are suffering great head pain from this world. We're all looking around at children killing each other in schools. We're watching all of this horror, and we're not getting it. I'm telling you, if you want to understand, if you want to get it, get to know Jesus, but you're going to have to become in the world, but not of it. Prepare to let go of selfishness. If you're not ready, don't look. I'm just telling you the truth. Because my Father's not giving you a kingdom that you're going to ruin when you get there, because he's never going to take away your free will. That's the truth. He never took away Satan's. Instead, you say he cast him from the kingdom. So understand, he was cast for a purpose. And if you're not willing to let go of your pride and your selfishness, then how are you going to get into this kingdom and stay? And how are you going to not turn it into a muck, just like we've made a muck out of this one? So I'm speaking truth here, friend, that nobody wants to hear. But if you want to find the kingdom, now's a great time to be looking. Just understand that. Or you can not believe a word I say, which if you don't, I don't blame you, friend, because I wouldn't have bought into me. The things that I know, I wouldn't believe anybody else knew. However, that's why I'm not trying to tell you to believe in me, friend. You don't have to. All you have to do is go get down with that message of Jesus and start tearing riddles and parables apart, and don't give up. Go knock on my Father's door to the kingdom out of sheer audacity, and don't quit until he gives you what you want. But be ready to give up stuff so that you can be more for others. And other people will think you're wrong for doing it. Trust me, in my life, everybody thinks I'm wrong doing what I do for the most part. But it doesn't matter. At the end, this relationship's between me and God. What other people think is none of my business. So whatever you think of me is none of my business. Understand that. So if you're judging me and thinking this guy's nuts, understand, I don't care. It doesn't matter. At the end of the age, at the end of my life, whatever, it doesn't matter. The only person that I'm going to have to stand before is my Father and Jesus. Except for Jesus said he wasn't going to judge me. And he said the Father wasn't going to judge me. Jesus told you that what was going to judge you at the end of the age was his words. And he actually said there at the Last Supper in one of the Gospels that he said, I came to save you. I'm not going to judge you. But at the end of the age, someone will come and is going to speak the message of Christ and judge you. But Jesus didn't judge him. any more than I'm judging you. Because if I make a judgment, then I'm judged for it. If I don't forgive you, then I'm not forgiven. Do you get it? So I can't judge anyone. Understand that. But the messenger coming won't either. Understand that when the messenger arrives, he'll be speaking truth, but he won't be speaking judgment. Because he knows that if he judges one other person, then he'll be judged for it. But because he knows his Father, he will not judge, and he will forgive you because he already knows that you don't know what you're doing. Jesus told you the truth on that cross. He said, "Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do." And he meant that. This world lies to you. It wiggles half a tongue. Now the church has been pretty much lying to you, wiggling half a tongue. Now you can go read Jesus and get a whole tongue. Go read the truth. Do the things he asked. And because you do, you'll find a higher truth. And then you'll get to trust this love of God so much after you get frustrated enough. I'm not kidding, friend. I went to my father. I had a love-hate relationship. I'm not talking about, you know how when you're in a relationship with a spouse and you get mad at them and then you ask for forgiveness after you guys get in an argument? Friend, I've been in arguments with my father, except it was a one-sided argument. Friend, the further I chased him down, the harder my life sometimes seemed to get. But understand that if you don't bang on the door to the kingdom, if you're afraid to rile him up, then you can't have the kingdom. Jesus told you, bang on that door. Make him get out of bed for sheer audacity. All right, friend. We just know I love you because my Father loves you, and may God bless you and yours.